we have the but the Father relieving suffering, and so obviously this follows on from the previous teaching, and knowing about suffering. So we have a few episodes of suffering. So today is about relieving suffering. So we understand what suffering is about. And so in the initial verse, is the Buddha kindly responds to the world. It comes from one great heart. So response to the world meaning trying to awaken for us to know the truth of life. So that compassion is that it treats everyone equally, and it's like its only son. So with the power of loving kindness, it bestows peace and joy, and with the power of great compassion, relieves the suffering, which I'll come to in the next slide as to these two lines here. So in the Buddha's compassion, it responds to the human realm and comes to the liberate out of samsara. So obviously we need to understand what samsara is, right? So, and Master actually they on talk about the 10 Dharma realms, which I will come towards the end. So this, so that we understand between samsara, the level of samsara and level of noble beings. So sometimes when you hear Master mention about noble beings, and then we understand what exactly what Master is referring to. So he gave the teachings, and obviously returning back. And so in the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha came back in different forms of bodhisattvas, and obviously did that because of the sake of the human beings, because they want to liberate human beings. And obviously there are also other beings in the samsaric realm, and that is the undertaking that all the bodhisattvas would do. And so after understanding this part, then we also need to reflect on the bodhisattva vows that we have undertaken. The first bodhisattva vow to deliver all the infinite, all sentient beings, and so infinite is, and all the realms are empty, really. So with loving kindness, he hopes everyone can become happy. So this really is the first of the four infinite minds, isn't it? May all beings have happiness, and its cause, and that is about loving kindness. And the second one, may they be free from suffering and its cause, which is about compassion. So therefore, this relieving of the of suffering, and that we walk into the practice, is for us to emanate that loving kindness and compassion in the path of the bodhisattva that we undertake. And so obviously the Buddha came and showed us the way to do that, and so that what we should be learning in the Buddha Dharma that Master has been teaching us every day. And then this Dharma lineage, and this Dharma lineage, the Master always explained about the family lineage, and then the parallel that we can draw from there is from the family lineage to go down to the Dharma lineage, and that's how the Buddha have done so, because he treat us like his only son and or daughter. And so so what we need to do is that we, and a few episodes ago, was it last week, there was an episode about legacy, right? So after receiving the legacy, then we got to pass it down. And so this is the part that we got to learn and transform ourselves, and also then pass down the Buddha Dharma, so that this Dharma degenerating age, and there's nothing we can do about this age, but certainly with a little bit that we have a role to play to make sure that this age does not quickly come to an end, and it still lingers on for a while. So how one's obviously progress depends on our minds, and otherwise a lot of this divergence and the evil thoughts will give you a lot of disasters, and we will face our own life becomings for ourselves too. And so long as we're in the path, we know what to do with that. So the power of love, parents teach children to be better and avoid doing the wrong things. No matter what, how naughty the child is, we will always, with this power of love, always teach the child. And so in much the same way that we do that in the Dharma. But sometimes you will have situation that one just doesn't accept the Dharma, so the Buddha got to use skillful means, and those who cannot accept, so long as there is an encountering with the Dharma, and hopefully in a future life that one can evolve. And so parents do all they can to help the children to be happy and compassion to relieve the suffering. You know, I was sitting down in what's the name of the stupa in Yangon, the Golden Stupa, which supposedly it has the Buddha's hair in there. I'm not sure whether you know the story about the two merchants who met the Buddha after enlightenment. They were these two merchants from Myanmar. And at that time, the Sangha has not been formed yet, of course. And so the Buddha gave the two merchants, the two merchants went to pay respect to the Buddha. And so he gave them, I can't remember how many strands of hair. I think it was 8 strands, I can't remember now. But some of the hairs were then taken away from them when they arrived in Myanmar, and a few of them are now in the Sridigong stupa. So we're sitting down there, and obviously people who goes there without knowing the Buddha Dharma, but we just follow everybody who was circumambulating the Sridigong stupa. And so I was sitting down there, and I had an opportunity. Someone was sharing with me. I say, you look at all these people who are walking around the stupa, a lot of them are tourists, but they do not know that realize, even though they don't believe in the Buddha Dharma, but the fact was that they were circumambulating the stupa. They would already establish the affinity. And so this is what it is, that even though someone who may not have no interest, etc., that opportunity to encounter would have set the affinity. So sentient beings include all animals, and obviously, you know, you've got different types of animals, and obviously that even within the animal realm, you notice that the level of consciousness are so different. The lifespan is so different. Okay, so mosquitoes' life lasts only about a week. And so for us, we are very low beings compared to, obviously, even in the heavenly realm, even though it's in samsara. So that's what life is, so we need to understand this. So, but even though our life is lasts for decades, but in the perspective of a kalpa, it's only a split second. And so this is, but that split second can propel us to a different destiny depending on what we do in that split second. So in very much the same way, like Sister Irene said just now, is that thought that actually sets someone from saying certain things, from doing certain things. And that's the reason why Master said you've got to be so vigilant in our practice, and be so disciplined, and when we walk the path, so that we do not deviate. And the amount of karma that we are creating, and this determines the number of lives that we're going to live, right? Number of lives that we're going to still continue to evolve in samsara or transmigrate to different destinies that we have to face. So the 10 Dharma realms, there are 10 levels. So I've got the 6 samsara realms, and then there's 4 up, which are noble beings. But the Buddha is an awakened being. That's what Buddha means, okay? Awakened. because you know the principle of the universe. So Bodhisattvas and the rest are still seeking the Buddha's way, meaning they entered heaven the door of Buddhahood yet. Although Bodhisattvas actually, especially the Mahasattvas, they actually on the door of Buddhahood, and it's the choice of entering that door is up to them. I shared with you the story of Kuan Yin, and she was going to enter that door, but he turned back because of the sake of ascending beings. And then there's also this solitary realizer Saravakas, the Pachaka Buddha and the Saravakas who are the hearers are still seeking the Dharma. So this, so the Paradigm Master said, all in the 10 realms, all sentient beings accepted the Buddha. So the 10 Dharma realms include the 4 noble beings and the 6 unenlightened realms, which we are in right now. So the lessons learned from here is that the Buddha uses the power of loving kindness, compassion, which is the infinite mind, 2 other infinite minds. Later on, that I think towards I think we listened live from Master. I think it was in chapter 21, right? Chapter 21, 22. And Master said that in our external cultivation, we practice with the 4 infinite minds of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So bringing happiness is on the power of loving kindness, and this is what infinite mind. So when we wish happiness to all sentient beings and its cause, we do that with loving kindness. So when we relieve suffering of sentient beings from its cause, that's the power of compassion that we practice. So therefore, if you understand that when you practice for infinite minds, that you wish happiness to all sentient beings and its cause, that's what we need to be practicing loving kindness. So when you relieve the suffering from sentient beings, there's the power of compassion that we need to emanate so that we act on it to relieve the suffering. So the Buddha has only one goal, to relieve the suffering, which is to give them the infinite and boundless joy, right? Infinite and boundless is what the infinite mind means. And that is what the eternal, if you like, the eternal bliss, it's the Dharmic bliss of the Buddha's wisdom. So the Buddha hoped that the children will be like him, have the same joy of wisdom, and that's what he set the aspiration to be. So in the same way, in our own little way that we are cultivating right now, is to live an exemplary life of a spiritual aspirant. So for me, I'm just an aspirant. I still aspire to be, so which is a long journey to go. So therefore, I regard myself as just spiritual aspirant, and to live that exemplary life. So when we live the exemplary life, is to apply the Dharma into our life, to walk that path. So therefore, because even a householders, it doesn't mean that when we are listening to the Dharma, we act in that way, but got to do so at full time. Doesn't matter when you're working or otherwise. If they can eliminate all their afflictions, they can then feel peaceful and at ease. So feeling peaceful and at ease, that's when you are able to live the life that in peace with your life becomings. That's not easy. It's simple words, but it's very deep. And living in peace with your life becomings, then you accept your karmic unfoldment, rather whatever causes and conditions they may be. And as you learn, you repay, and you fulfill those karmas. So in contemplation, in the depth of the moment of silence in your consciousness, you'll find peace and calmness of the silence. So enjoy the moment and rejoice the inner seeing. Inner seeing, you need to contemplate into delve into those moments of contemplation, and those moments of realization is the inner seeing. You see, a lot of time that we are very engaged in our mind. So when we're engaged in the mind is in control, and so thoughts will emanate. But it's in the moments of contemplation, those moments of silence of your inner consciousness, that you feel the calm and peace. And this could be a very split moment for that matter. And that's when you learn to develop what you call the inner faculties. So the mind is very engaged in the external faculties. So it's the inner faculty that you need to engage. And that's where this moment that you can find peace in. So in depth of that silence, you can find a knowing of the true nature, just as you can see the clarity of the stillness of a muddy pond. So in that true nature is what Master is trying to teach us to realize. And obviously knowing it could be just a glimpse of the true nature, but more importantly, is that through that true nature, in that stillness and that calmness, you are able to realize the truth in the teachings. So in the depth of that peace and calmness, you'll find all embracing loving kindness and compassion. And within that, selflessness. And that's what the whole essence of today's teaching is about. So on relationship, the flow of moments are the light becomings. And nothing you can do. Time passes by. It will come, causes and condition will arise. So all this flow that will arrive is for you to observe and to learn. So each moment is a messenger. If a moment is for you to learn, there must be a message, right? So listen clear and learn well. For the moments are there to elevate you to the higher level of consciousness, which relates to the contemplation I just given you in those stillness. And the consciousness is the mindfulness with loving kindness and compassion. Again, relating to today's teaching. Okay, Gan En brothers and sisters, that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, Gan En, so much, Chin.